Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stargate Heavy Metal. That's right. Which you haven't figured out yet, but soon you will. If you were joining us since the last time, thanks for sticking around. If you're joining us just now, we are playing Stargate, the role playing game by Wyvern Gaming. And the casting crew, not just the crew, no, just the cast, whoever the characters are stuck on a planet that they don't know about. And they've just met some other Jaffa who haven't taken them prisoner. There was like a moment there. But it seems like you're all welcome because Atir knew Retak, and so you've now been introduced to. Uh, hang on, too many names. Kadessa, who just walked out and said, "Are you here to save us?" And looks at Atir, who's eating waffles.
We would be here to save you if we knew how we got here or how to save you. Oh, apparently we arrived very much like you did.
Yeah, you could see that Retak was like about to say something, and then he looks a little crestfallen, and then she looks a little crestfallen, and she says, "I was afraid of that." Well, you are welcome here. Your
Like,
numbers will prove useful in our fight. And then she turns
what
and
are you
walks
trying to
back
say?
into the house.
Sp- I'll turn to Retag.
Okay.
Speaking of, I heard a lot of like, malice blasts. Who or what are you fighting?
Um, he watches her disappear into the building before he says anything. But he turns to you and he says, "That is Mulnulsek. He is a constant thorn in our side."
Do we know anything about them?
I feel like a tier could do a history check. Bloop.
So he was my dad.
He was
He
your
actually taught
dad,
me how to ride a bike.
right?
He was always kind of a
You don't know him. You've heard his name maybe in conversation. He is definitely a pro gold Jaffa. Like he is beholden to them till the end. Um, you hadn't heard you haven't heard much about him recently because you're not really part of like the the clans anymore. But like I feel like what you have heard is he's pretty militant about things.
okay. Well, I will like pry for information about what he's been doing, what have the like attacks been like if I'm part of this fight, give me the information that a soldier would need to fight back.
Okay. So while Atir's having this conversation, and we'll get back to it in just a sec, uh, what are the rest of you doing? Do you like want to hang out and wait for the conversation to end and listen, or do you want to like try and get your own information, or look around, or whatever?
I'm gonna befriend the people and learn about the culture.
Same. I'm with her.
Nope, not with the hippie.
Yep. I'll be right behind you. Like, yeah. That's a great question.
I'm gonna duck behind people and try to like be like, nope.
So there's a lot of awkward like dinner party action going on where like obviously Lanny's trying to like ditch Clara, but the party's not quite big enough that Clara loses sight of Lanny, and so she just follows around. Bruvel, what are you doing?
Likely trying to get more information about how long they've been here. Is there a semblance of a way to escape? Things of that nature.
Okay. So let's do it this way. Rather than me telling each of you what you learn, I'm going to tell you an overall what you all learned together bit of information. Some of the Java that are here have only been here for a few months. Some of them have been here for several years. All of them came through Chapel I or the Stargate at some point and were deposited. You guess essentially back where you were or close there too in that area. Some of the Jaffa who have come here are not separatists. They're not like freedom fighters. They are like sent here by Gold, essentially to get the what they have gathered from talks with prisoners of the other Gold or the other Jaffa is that they were sent here to get the population of the planet in line, which there's no population here. Like no one has seen any other people. Every so often, another humanoid person comes through that's not Jaffa. So none of them lived for more than a few weeks. They seem to waste away and die. And obviously there are two camps. We have Cadessa's camp and then Minulsek's camp. If there are others on the planet, they haven't found them so far. But yeah, there's pretty much two camps of Jaffa. And as far as the firefight, Atir, that was actually this group trying to sneak over and get the supplies that Minulsek has from the other compound. And when they saw them, they were hunting in those ravines because there are night creatures. They decided to ambush them. It didn't go the way they planned, but they did manage to take out some of theirs. And although a few of the freedom fighter Jaffa did get injured in the process.
Can I ask if they were the group that destroyed the machinery?
No, they aren't. That was done before any of them had arrived. Although there are supposedly some Jaffa in the other group that have been here longer. Perhaps one of them did it.
Are the people who were injured in that fight still injured?
They are. Although
Ow.
their symbiote will take care of them.
Oh, okay. I'd like to go see, and if there is anything I can assist. If not, that's
Sure.
cool. Because I can do wet towels too. That's fine.
Yeah. So from material, you know that superficial wounds will heal much faster than a human because of the symbiote. Really bad wounds can be healed. It just takes longer. Things that would kill a human person may not kill a Jaffa. It really depends, but you can go check and see what kind of wounds they are, whether you feel they're more dangerous to them or not. Absolutely. And so when you offer that, one of the Jaffa will lead you over to a building that houses these injured. Anyone else doing anything?
I have recovery, so if I take a short rest, D10? Is it D10? What's TD?
Oh, like if you were tension die, yeah. Your tension dice are D6s, I believe, right now, or D8s. I had it. I think
Looks
I
like
had it set.
D6s.
I feel like
Okay,
I should
D6s.
recover since it sounds like we're going to battle at some point.
So, you haven't taken any damage yet, correct?
Right.
Okay, so I mean, there's not really a lot to recover as far as that goes, but you can absolutely just hang out and relax because it has been a bit of a trek today. It's very hot. It's very kind of uncomfortably hot. Atir, you're feeling it. Your symbiote's kind of regulating your system, but you can feel it. Cholera, you're definitely whew, this is such a dry heat. Not a fan. Sucks the moisture right out of my skin. And Burvel, you're definitely this is way warmer than where you lived on your home planet. So like all of you do have like a little bit of that, like not exhaustion. You don't have levels of exhaustion, but you're just feeling a little fatigued. So if you want to rest while everyone's kind of like looking around, that's absolutely okay. Get to know people. Um, so Clara, you go in and you see these people, and they have obvious like plasma rifle burns.
Mhm.
Several of them are superficial, but like none of the people that are injured are only superficially injured. So they've been shot several times each, and so it's taking them longer to recover. They can't just
Mhm.
like shrug it off and be like, "I'll just get back to work tomorrow." So
Mhm.
yeah, you could definitely help ease their pain if you have any like medical stuff you can do to help them. You can absolutely do that.
Yep, I'd like to do that, and then like I'll literally like say out loud everything because I'm also trying to be a teacher in general, and so oh well I'm doing this. This is why, and whether it's medical people or just them, like I don't care, just do it. I'm just gonna say it out loud while I do it, and
Okay.
this will make you feel better. This won't, but you'll be thankful later. And
This is a band aid. I don't
yeah,
know why, but it.
it's key. See, and we do this.
All right. So while Claire is doing that, Atira, what are you doing?
I am very concerned that my friends are going to die. So I want to hear about, see if I can talk to anyone who has any idea of what that like massive pillar is. Like, can we use that to get back? Because as far as I know, they have like 4 days.
So all they really know is that it is made of naquita. Like they're familiar enough with the substance that they know the inside is definitely naquita. It had something to do with power. They knew that, but what it does, they have no idea.
Okay, and I will just be spending that time, like this day, trying to figure out like I need any kind of shot, even if it's a long shot, of how to get back.
Okay. When you're asking around for that, Retak will get this kind of look on his face. He'll lead you away from the other Jaffa, and he'll say, "I'm hesitant to bring this up because we have tried many times, and I don't want to instill hope where there is none. But would your friends know how to make a flying ship fly again if it's broken?"
My friends can do anything.
Oh boy.
Nice. He definitely like looks pleased with this, and when you like leave this conversation, there's like a certain spring to his step that wasn't there before, and he goes off into the building that Cadessa went into.
Ooh boy! And then I am gonna go find Ravel and be like, "Hey, you know how to make a flying ship, right? Like they taught you that in like your first year of engineering school."
Um, what do you think engineering school is?
It's the thing where you go and then you're like, "This is a robot," and then you can turn a robot into anything or something like that. Look, long story short, we don't need to get into it. I think you're gonna die. So I'm just trying to be honest with you. But apparently, Retak says like getting a flying ship might be the best way off. So that way you won't die.
Repairs. Okay, I can do repairs. I was more concerned with the idea that you were going to try to uh, persuade me into building a flying ship from scratch.
Well, I wouldn't. Retak might, but like let's just get more information before we make a decision. Because once again, it's either this or death for you, not for me,
So
and I'd
they,
rather you not die.
so they okay, all right.
Yes.
um, right. Okay. So repairs. Do they have
Repairs from
supplies?
scratch. Like let's not go any like definitive path just yet.
So
Do they
at
have
this
tools?
moment of the conversation, Cadessa walks out, and she walks directly to the two of you, and she says, "So you are here to save us. You have knowledge on how to fix the flying machine."
Ravel.
Fix. Do you have any tools or supplies? Any Scrap.
There are tools in the hangar, yes.
Excellent, excellent. We're off to a wonderful start. Do we have any spare parts, any scrap, anything that you've hauled in since arriving here?
There are parts here in this complex, although Manulsek has stripped it before we took over, of many of the components.
Then we may be able to save us just yet. I'll have to take a look at it and see what we need.
She slaps you like on the shoulder, like super hard. Like she's like this pretty tall, buff woman, and like slaps you, grabs your other shoulder, shakes you, and is just like yes, and walks off and starts shouting orders as like Jaffa are like running around trying to like get the thing she's yelling to get. You get the feeling she's ready to move out.
You're so cool.
Everyone is going to be watching me while I work a tier, and that is not a.
I can. I'll pull some strings. I'll talk to them.
I'll need a few assistants. That's all. But the more tech savvy, if you can manage to convey that.
Okay. So we want tech savvy assistant.
Am I tech savvy?
I think you are tech savvy.
I think I am. How would I know that? I'm good at science. Does that help you?
Science, that makes you tech savvy.
Sure. Let's do it.
The thing with the SG teams, or in this case the Phoenix teams, is they're usually put together in a way that they complement each other. So like you and Burvell definitely cover the bases of a lot of what you need to know for this adventure. So
Okay.
I'll definitely let you know when something arises and like your specialities are called into play. But yeah, you get the feeling the two of you together will be able to.
Science the shit.
It really depends on what the. I mean, if it's like a 747 and it's missing the 4 and the 7, then if it's just the 7, then but you have to see the shit before you know it.
Yes, I would love to go see the ship.
So you get the feeling from the Jaffa running around that the ship is not here. You have to go to another complex, and so everyone's kind of rounded up. Some of the Jaffa are staying here to guard this complex from any incursions from the other group, but a fairly large contingent is going with you. You get the feeling not so much to help, but as to guard.
Gotcha.
Clara and Lanny, are you planning to go, or do you want to stay here?
I plan to go help.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hold a flashlight.
Okay. And a tier, I'm assuming you're going, but I shouldn't have just assumed that.
Yes, I am going to guard.
Oh, you go. Okay, you're going with the group to guard. Okay. So all of you gather up your supplies and head out. Burvell, you had asked whether or not they had spare parts and stuff. So because of that, Cadessa will have some of the Jaffa go and get these carts that are like filled, or they will fill them with it looks just like random electronics and stuff that you're not really sure what it does. And these carts look a lot like, like those big plastic trash, like wheeled trash barrels. And they're just like dragging them through the sand. There's not really a better way to do it. And you all head out. Along the way, I do need Burvell, Kulera, and Lanny to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh God.
Oh, good. That's the worst one.
Oh.
Is it that one? No, that was a check. Where's the save?
Oh yeah, definitely do a save.
Oh, I found it. That was the real one.
About the same.
What did I get? I can't tell.
So you got a 7. And Burvell got a 5, and Clara got a 15. So Clara, on a D20 plus whatever your save bonus
can I use
was.
My inspiration?
You can, so that'll give you a 12, I think. Yep, a 12.
Is that enough, or do I need to try again?
Burvell, do you want to use your inspiration?
No.
No? Okay. So as you're walking along, like everyone definitely feels the heat, the oppressive, like baking in the sun off the sand. Um, but Burvell starts feeling just kind of nauseous. And as you're walking, like your hands like just shake a little bit, like it's a just an every so often tremor, not like constantly. But you're gonna get 1 level of exhaustion.
Sick.
No.
I'm ready for it. Up in the top right corner of the character sheet, just is that the under the condition tab?
If it isn't on your sheet, just keep it in mind. Let me double check. I can see your sheet. Burvell. Character sheet.
Because that portion looks like the exhaustion portion.
Aha. Yeah, so that condition box.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, yeah. If you just click that second one, that is
Perfect.
that is what happens when you have your first level of exhaustion. You are at disadvantage for your ability checks.
Neat.
All right. So the so the day wears on, and that massive sun is setting on the far side as the planet is rising again from the other horizon, and the light shifts into that kind of light that you arrived in, where you kind of thought it was more normal looking. Um, but again, no darkness is really setting. You get the feeling, having been here for a while, that it will at some point get dark once the planet and the sun are on the opposite side, but you haven't figured out what the time cycle is yet as far as your hours go, how many is day and night. And in the distance you notice like what looks like the really messed up ruins of some kind of building. Like it's like covered mostly in sand, and there's parts of it are falling off. It looks like metal. As you get closer, you can see that dug out from the sand is a large door, or like hangar bay door. And I'm going to put you in the hangar. Hold, please. While I switch you over on the map, what do you do?
I would like to constantly be checking on them because when they said non-Jaffa die, I got very concerned very quickly.
Okay.
Have you had your Chex Mix? You got it. You got to eat all of it.
Electrolytes. There's electrolytes and salt.
Be drinking water and eating Chex Mix. Suffering.
Nice.
Did Calera notice that Rebel's like exhausted? Or whatever that would
Like,
visually
unless-
look like?
Unless you're hiding it, Burvell, I feel like it would become noticeable, especially since like everyone's watching out for each other's health. Just to make sure you all see the new map. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
I don't think I would be able to hide it, I don't think.
So yeah, it definitely looks like he's having some issues.
Okay, so since he's kind of like the focal point of this adventure at the moment, I'm gonna try to support him and like, do you need some water? A fan you? Hold the flashlight? Like, what do you need? And just kind of be attentive. And then, like, if I have anything to intervene with, like, you know, stab him with an IV or something. I don't know. Whatever I could do, I'll be doing things and being
Wrong
attentive.
game.
Oh right, wrong game. I don't stab people here with help. It's my
Again,
go-to
join us on
move now,
Wednesdays.
really. Oh, yeah.
Kiss it and make it better.
Right?
Kiss.
I don't know if she does that, but she
More of a
would
liquor. Gotcha.
help. Rub some tree bark on him. You'll be fine. Just it's cool.
Discriminating against the skin. Yeah, no, that's
That's helping.
So Brevel, even though this seems like a little doting and maybe a little over motherly, Claire is like following you around, like she's making sure you're drinking water, and she's kind of trying to fan you. And whereas sometimes it might annoy you, it actually kind of feels good. like the cool air, or at least the air being moved, cools it a little, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's nice. And the water definitely, like, as you drink it, it's like, when you're really warm, working out, or you're outside for a long time, you drink like cold water, and you just feel it go all the way down, even though your water is at, like, room temperature right now. It feels cold going down. Um, so yeah, it's kind of nice, the extra attention. And you
Thank you.
all like head into this hangar. Burvell, you can find the light switch. I won't make you roll for it. It does have power, and as you click it on, there is this fairly large shuttle in the middle of this area. Like a good deal of sand has like crept in and is spread across the floor, but for the most part, everything is in good repair, except for the ship. As you look across it, Lanny and Burvell, you both notice that like it looks like someone tried to fix this ship and then got mad, and so like started ripping things out and throwing them across the room and stuff. So it's definitely going to take some work.
I'm gonna tell people, see all the pieces that were thrown all.
What was the end of that? Sorry.
And gather them and make a pile. I guess like close to the ship or like somewhere where we can organize them.
Nice. Like a few of the Jaffa like look at Retak like, why is she ordering us around? But then he nods and starts going over and picking things up. And so yeah, they all start moving things closer. So why don't we do Burvell and Lanny make a check for me? Let me tell you what it is. Let's do no, not technology. Where is it? Engineering. Or science. Whichever you're better at.
Me, sorry. Me?
Yeah, both of you, sorry.
It's okay, sorry. My husband asked me a question.
No worries.
All right.
Did he ask if he could play too? Because that's a legit question.
That is a legit question.
It was not a legit question, so I will not go there.
So after all the parts are together and you're all looking at things and you're discussing, yeah, I'm pretty sure that goes there, and this wiring has to be completely redone, and I have no idea what that's even made out of, but I'm pretty sure that goes there. Gilbert Burvell notices pretty early on that something is missing. You're trying to figure out what powers this thing. There's not like a gas cap. And so like you're looking around and there's like this control panel essentially that has something missing from it, and you're pretty sure that's what goes in that slot is what powers this.
Is this a big cylinder hole?
It is cylindrical, but it's not like that size. It's not like the size of that building, but it is cylindrical, yeah.
Gotcha. Because I'm making the leap that it might be the mineral. The starts with an N. Words are
Naquita.
hard. There we go. That's
Yeah.
the one. Is that correct? I'm making the leap. I don't know if Ravel would.
It could very well be, and if they're like designs carried through the people who built that building and built this ship, if they're the same society or whatever, it could very well be that they're using similar design structures. Yeah.
I'll make this known to anyone who's in the vicinity. So Lanny, Kalira, since she's doting, and the rest of the Jaffa.
So they'll tell you that first they ask if you've been to the tower with all of the panels next to it.
We have. There was a significant amount of Naquita there. That may be what we're missing, but from what I understand, I believe that amplifies power, doesn't necessarily generate it, I don't think. But that facility might have something that we need.
So, just kind of like spitballing back and forth with you, they'll tell you that the area that they're in doesn't have power. What the tower does, but they think the power comes from those panels. That's what they've deduced so far. They're not really sure what it does to create power, but they don't have any of those panels at the other place. But there is a panel that is much like the one in the ship at the complex, but it doesn't have anything in it either. But Manulsek, his complex has power, and they don't know why.
Then we may need to pay a visit to Minolsek
Oh,
and his.
he will
Mary
not
Beth
like a
as well.
visit.
Well, I don't think we necessarily want to visit him either, but he has what we need. This is not going to fly without power, obviously, so
Can we hook up a solar panel to it with the wires? And
Do a
charge it like
science
battery?
check for me,
Mm.
and Burvell do a engineering check.
Lonnie needs coffee. Her science went down.
Did it go down?
Yeah, I got yours, and then I just need Burvell's engineering.
gotcha.
I'm gonna fan you too, Lonnie.
So between the two of you, you're kind of discussing it, and like Nakwita, if the thing that goes into that slot is like a battery, like a very powerful battery, if it is Nakwita, it's going to be providing more power than one of those solar panels. You could try multiple solar panels, and like really there's probably some kind of like battery that the solar panels are feeding that are in those like power boxes that then connect to the Nakwita thing, the pillar that's in that tower. You could probably rig together some kind of way to make it work. It would be awkward. And Burvell, your main worry is like securing the panels on the ship for like leaving the atmosphere and then re-entering it. Like, how are they gonna deal with that? Are they gonna just rip off? Because like losing power mid-flight, especially once you're in space, bad idea. But maybe I think it's more of a we could try this.
But you'll never know until you're in space.
Or you'll never know, at least until you try.
Right. I don't know if I'm down for the trial and error that this is going to go for.
I
Do we
want to ask
know-
the guy if there's been any defectors to your side from the other side.
There have not. At least
have
none that are
not.
alive.
Hmm.
Do we know if obviously the enemy camp, they're likely equipped with the same staffs that
Hmm.
that the Jaffa are known for, but do they have like cannons, artillery, things of that nature?
They actually
Heavier
do
armor?
have I cannot think of what it's called right now, but there's essentially like a cannon version, or
Oh,
like
no.
a moving around. If I remember right, it's like I can't remember if it's wheeled or like if it's a hovering thing. It's been a while, but yeah, they have like a couple of those because when they came through, they were going to like put down the rebellion on the other side.
Gotcha.
They haven't the rebels haven't been able to get any of those from them.
So these solar panels might be good for traveling to that base, or at least just outside of it. That way we can limit the exhaustion and the desert travel.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So essentially, you're saying go get the solar panels, attach them to this, and then fly this to the other base.
Correct.
Okay, interesting.
That way, I mean, it's a risk of punching a hole in the ship, but if we land just outside of their view or their range, then we can limit any sort of exhaustion. Carry more people, possibly, for a strike team.
Okay. What's everybody else think?
What are the religious beliefs of these people?
So the Jaffa, the Goa'uld were gods, and essentially, much like our Scion game on Wednesdays, like all of the older gods are actually real, but in this, they're not really gods. They're these like kind of powerful aliens that they actually rely on other species tech to be powerful, but they are back in the day they were definitely viewed as gods. Now the ones that you're with have shrugged that off. They realize these are just aliens essentially that are overlords. They're just using their clout to rule over different sectors. The people that you're going to have to go deal with at some point are way more zealous about that. Like they think Ra is a god or was a god before he died.
So I guess what I'm trying to get at is, could I convince them that we fly in there with this woojie space? Maybe deck it out in some special sand magical hippie things, and be like, "Hey, there you guys are. I've been looking for you.
Let's see.
To save you."
Pose
I like
as
your
a-
thinking. I like your thinking. How do I answer that? You've stumped me. Because I want to say yes. I want to say you could absolutely try that. So a tier can like give you feedback on that plan. It would be difficult because most of the system lords are known. And so you wouldn't be able to show up and be like, I am Raw, because they would know what Raw looked like, or, whatever. But there are also lower system lords and new system lords that are created, because essentially, like, as a tier symbiote matures, it would leave a tier and go live in its forever host. And then everyone would be like, oh, well, that's, Thor. And it's not Thor, because Thor's actually not one of these guys. That's Ball, or whatever, They would know who this new person is by... So you could try to pose yourself as a new system lord.
What if I said that I was like Raw Go guy?
So like Ra had a son. You could say you were that symbiote's new host. Like you wouldn't put it that way, but you could essentially say, I am this person, and they might buy that.
How do you guys feel about the plan? I don't want to just go with it.
I like that plan.
I think it's a valid plan. I think it would be good, posing as a gold.
I'm gonna offer that. Well, so militant spiritualist, gonna be kind of emotional. Maybe we should have the negotiation tactics ready to go in case something happens. People are very sensitive about those things, unlike the people who worship the Great Tolrac, of course.
We're not sensitive at all.
And we could get a tier to maybe show up as someone who has previously defected and now seen the light, the error of his ways.
Yeah.
Are you saying you would sacrifice me?
No, but it would
I am down for that plan. Let's go.
And just to be clear, like the people that you met earlier, like the Jaffa, didn't know that you had defected until they asked you. So the other ones may not know that you have defected, depending on when they arrived and if they knew you at all.
How would how would your friends feel about acting in order to get off this planet? Because they could be like, hey, look, I got all these misled, misguided souls back in the line. However we feel about that.
How the...
That's
Make
funny.
make a persuasion check together. Both of you do one, and we'll take the higher of the two.
Persuasion is not my strong point.
So like Lanny's like trying to describe this, and Atira, you're essentially translating, even though you're really speaking the same language, you're like trying to say it in a better way. And they finally get it, and they're like, some of them volunteer, not all of them, but they do point out that like system lords tend to have like a certain way they dress or look or whatever, and this just isn't cutting it, so we're gonna have to like dress her up, or whoever's going to be it, we're gonna have to dress them up. They don't really have like a system lord outfit, but with the various armors that they have, they could probably put something together, like rip this helmet apart and you use this as a collar and like, you know, like a shoulder piece, and we can tear this off over here and it could be like a crown, and you know what I mean?
We can montage it.
You totally montage it.
Pretty woman.
So are you also going to be getting the solar panels?
Yes.
Okay.
If at
So
all
just
possible.
there's multiple plans going on here. I just want to make sure. So there is a montage of like Jaffa like trekking across Lord of the Rings style, trekking across the desert, and they're like ripping off panels because, you know, oh, gently, okay. They try and figure out how, and so on that journey, I do need Burvell to make a Constitution saving throw.
You know, you're the one getting us out of here, right?
It occurred to me after I said I wasn't going to use the inspiration last time that I'm supposed to be doing that. Yes, I'm going to use the inspiration this time
Okay.
to do that thing.
Nice. So like partway through, you do stop and like you hack up a little bit, and it's a little phlegmy and a little chunky, and you're just like, that's not natural. But you're still just one level of exhaustion. And meanwhile, montage continues as everyone's like tearing apart these various armors and decking out Lanny in this outfit. And when you're done, like, she makes a pretty passable system lord.
High five.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question, Jeremy. So, one of my skills is cross-discipline studies and scientific discovery, so I could essentially use my science proficiency in something else. How do we feel about lying as a discipline?
Gotcha.
Or like, is there something that could be? Because I'll tell you, like, deception isn't my thing, but I feel like knowledge can also.
Right. So there is a bit of knowledge that you realize during this, and I'm going to give you advantage on your check when you have to make it because you realize this, and so you're going to try and act accordingly.
Okay.
When the gold speak to the Jaffa, it tends to be there's this. I'm trying to think if in the episode that you watched if it happened. So their eyes glow and their voice changes. It's like their manifestation. And so when they're talking to like their lessers, they tend to do that because it's like creepy and powerful. So you're gonna have to like really play this up because you don't have that ability and you can't find anything that's gonna like replicate that. But when you do it, like I'm gonna give you advantage on the roll with your science instead of persuasion or deception.
Can Gilbert make me a voice changer?
Whoa.
You know, there's probably like speakers, like some kind of audio device in the ship if you wanted to tear it out and like make it part of her costume.
I would love to do that.
You know what you could do? Okay, so together you guys realize this. So you could like build this like little thing that makes your voice sound like that. But then if your headdress came down and like didn't cover your eyes completely, and then on the inside you like stripped the ship of like some lighting strips or whatever and like put them in the helmet, then it would look like her eyes were flashing.
Yes. Better.
I like the comment from chat. LED contacts. Exactly.
Yeah.
I wish I had those for real.
Right? I would so just like after COVID I would just go hang out at the mall or something and be like, what?
You have something on my face.
They have LED masks that'll be a light mouth and it'll move with your mouth.
Nice.
It's awesome. Sorry, tangent.
No. So end of montage. You have this outfit with your voice changer and your eye glowy stuff. Gilbert is like, sorry, Burvell is like ratcheting solar panels to the outside of the ship. And you do notice that like there's enough, essentially you had to bring batteries with it. And so you're like wiring those batteries into this console where the power source should go. And those batteries probably have enough to like get you outside so it can start like charging actively, and you could probably fly over to the other camp without any issues. Does that all make sense? Have I forgotten anything? Or did I miss anyone's comments, questions, concerns? That was a lot of montaging, so... All right, so the four of you and some other Jaffa who were pretending to be prisoners or converts. Which one is it?
I think it was their choice.
More than likely, they would say there are better chances to pretend to be prisoners.
Okay.
Because they've been fighting against each other for so long that they highly doubt.
Okay.
It's going to be like, didn't you just shoot at me yesterday? Nah,
Right.
Yeah, I saw the arm
Right.
away. It's good now.
All right. So we're gonna place a tier. Is it a tier or a fear?
Tier.
A tier. People were afraid of you, so I was going fear.
Ooh, I like that.
it.
A tier and fear. You are guarding the prisoners, I'm assuming, with your stance.
I will be like, I have caught these prisoners. I am bringing them to you as tribute. Also, if you were to just so happen to have a thing for us to leave, not that we're going to, could you show that to us?
Okay, fair enough. And actually, a tier, like, as everyone goes into the ship and Burvell has been trying to figure out how to fly it, you realize the controls are very similar to the ships that you've flown before. There's like a control orb. It's a little different than the tech that you've used, but really it's so similar that you can figure it out pretty easily. And so you can either show Burvell how to do it, or you can fly the ship, or you can show Burvell and fly the ship, and then have backup pilot if something happens, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah, I'll show Brevel.
Okay.
Assume like the more Brevel flies it, the more he'll be attuned to it, so the easier the repairs. Yeah, we'll do that.
Makes sense. Burvell, it's once he shows you, it's pretty obvious like what everything does. Definitely different than Earth technology, but once he points out the point of this control, you're like, oh yeah, that's like this on a plane, you know. So you flip them over pretty easily.
Be labeling things as I go as well.
There's just sticky notes.
Throttle. Thrust.
Nice. Okay. So the ship takes off. It's definitely a little sluggish, but then as like, and if you were standing outside, you'd see as just like dust blows out of the ports and everything, and you hover out of the hangar door and head towards the other camp. When it's in sight is when you want to set down, right? Or do you want to like just before? Like, do you want them to see you in the ship, or do you want them not to see your ship?
Not to see the ship, I would say.
Okay. It definitely does not look like a gold ship, even though the tech inside is reminiscent of it. So
yeah, why take the chance?
Yeah, that's what I would suggest that Atir thinks. Okay, so you sat down, probably like 3/4 of a mile away, like with the dunes and everything. You were kind of skimming along, and you sat down in this like little valley of 2 dunes, and walk your way in. So as you walk up, like there are obviously like guards posted, and they shout at you. What do you do?
I'm gonna ask Atir, what's the approach? System Lord, do they approach you with like how like I'm better than you? Is it like, oh my gracious followers? Is it like, get into line, you pieces of scum?
You do know that different Atir, you do know that different system lords tend to be nicer or worse than others. So it's really up to you all on how you want to do that. Like, none of them were ever like super fun people.
Right. Okay, so we have options. We probably want to limit questions as much as possible.
Okay.
Then I will follow your lead, and the prisoners will as well.
Okay. Just to make sure you all see the new map, yes?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, all right. Oh, it's too far over on the screen capture. That's okay. All right. So as you approach, what do you say, Lanny?
What's the tribe of these people called again?
So there's actually several clans that you've learned on both sides. There are several clans that have like come together because essentially different system lords were sending out to the same planet, and so these are like the survivors so far. So essentially, you would just call them Jaffa.
Okay. I'm here. I've passed the tests of wills, and I have done what you haven't been able to do, and captured these non-believers. But no fret, I'm here now.
Nice. So go ahead and make that science check at advantage.
Oh god.
Oh god.
There's one. There's two.
Okay. So they stop, and like one is wearing a crocodile helmet and the other one's wearing a serpent helmet, and they turn and look at each other. And then they look at you and they salute you and open the door.
Good. I'm gonna walk through like I own the place.
Okay. So Lanny heads on in.
I will follow as someone who works for worships would do. Like,
excellent. Burvell and Kulera, what are you doing? And did you go, or did you remain in the ship? I guess I should have asked that.
I don't know. Kalira, you answer first.
Oh, I'm going. I'm going to be right behind them. Like, I gave her secrets from my people. I'm a supporter. Peace and love.
Then I will definitely be going with the rest of my friends.
All right. I'm just going to snag you and move you as they lead you to be face to face with Manulsec.
Hmm.
All right, so in this larger room up here, and this whole compound has power. It seems like it's being kept pretty clean. There is some damage to it. It seems like really more age than anything. But as you go through the hallways, there are several Jaffa that like not recognize you, but like recognize you. Like they see you and they recognize your presence, but because you're being led by these other two, they don't say anything. But when you walk in, Manulsek turns and looks at you, and he like sneers at the fake prisoners. And he says, "Who are you?"
Who am I? I will not even answer that question, and I'll look to Atir.
How dare you speak there in such a manner?
Intimidation check?
Now, Atir, you are scary. Is there some kind of...
Is there a way we can grant him advantage by like cowering when he speaks or something?
I was already giving him an advantage, but
Cool.
I wasn't gonna say it.
It still helps if you cower.
Oh, not
For
like
flavor, I
you
will
needed it.
cower.
I'm
Your
gonna
cowering made the dice,
Natural 20.
right? So he looks at, like, he glares at Atir, and then he looks at Lanny, and he really looks at Lanny this time, and like looks her up and down, and realizes like how she's dressed. And as he's doing that, Lanny, your thumb like pushes the button that makes your eyes light up, and you don't even say anything, and he just like drops to his knees before you. I am sorry, I did not realize. Please, I am your servant, whatever you need.
This is my right hand, and I'm pointing to engineer. I can't remember your name. I want to
Burvel.
Hello.
give this man what he needs. His words are mine. Don't make me come back to this again. I am offended and need to go sit down.
Love it. Love it. So, Burvel, you are now the limelight as he doesn't stand up, but he looks at you. And you notice that the other Jaffa in the room were also kneeling. They haven't raised their heads yet, but he is definitely like eyeing you like there's something calculating in his gaze.
Okay. Show me how you've supplied this facility with power.
He glances at Lanny as she leaves the room. Clara, are you going with Lanny or are you staying here?
Lanny has a backup. I want to stay with Revel, especially since he cowered at these people. Like, you gotta like, oh, what? Look at me. So I'm gonna be his hype backup.
Okay. So then, Atir, you're going with Lanny, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so as you both head out,
This worked
Excuse
out
me,
so well
Manulsek.
last time.
I know.
right?
We
It's okay.
No.
I have a different hat. We're not sand dancing anymore, Revel. Now it's, would you say to her right hand?
Nice. So as you head out, Manulsek stands and he motions to a couple of the guards and he points at the prisoners and he's like, put them in the holding center. And so they are led out by a couple of the Jaffa. And then he leads you to this panel right here. Do you see the ping?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to remove these two. So there's like this somewhat glowing like dome that's right there. And he walks you over to it.
This is your power source?
The power is within it, yes.
I see. How many of these do you have? Do you have
That is the
backups?
only one that is functioning. We had to take it from the ship that is in one of the hangars nearby.
That simply won't do. You need backups in case the other encampment decides to strike against you. I can replicate this, but I'll need time alone with it. I need to take it back to our ship, replicate it with our with our own technology, and I'm,
With our replicator machine.
our cloning
Mhm.
thing. I'll just I can replicate this if I had some time alone with it. I need to take this back to our ship. Uh, that's all I got, man. That's all I got.
No, that's fine. Um, he's definitely eyeing you a little weird.
Do
A
we need to go get the Lord?
right? Do a either deception or persuasion, whichever's higher for you.
Uh,
Can I help by looking real like sassy at his sassiness at my friend?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's what
I'll
I'm
just-
doing.
I'll just fuck persuasion. They're both at 0. Son of a bitch.
And that's how we die.
Right?
Damn it. Okay, I
He
wasn't trying to
says
put down why I left.
he like is definitely looking at you funny, but then he nods and says whatever the lady wishes. Obviously not talking about you, talking about Lanny. And he like reaches down and makes this motion, almost like there's a motion sensor, and it's like a specific way that he does it, and the dome opens up, and inside is what looks like the same kind of plug, or like the same kind of socket, but the plug is actually in it, so that battery has been inserted.
Okay. I'll eyeball it and just kind of. I feel like I have everything I need to know about, but I'll pretend to be eyeballing it and kind of learning from it, and just assessing the situation, putting on a show, as it were. This is the only one you've managed to repair.
It's the only one that we've found.
Found. Where did you find this?
It was in the hangar.
This powers the entire facility?
It does.
How many units do we have for guard?
There are, what did I say? 39 of us, I think.
We'll need to put everyone on high alert. Everyone will need to maintain the area, the border of this facility, this complex. I do need to remove I do need to remove this. As such, we are going to be losing power for a short time, so everyone needs to be on high alert, standby, patrols all throughout the perimeter.
Of course. And he like turns to the other. There's like 2 other Jaffa that are in there, and he tells them to go start warning everyone that the power is going out. Make me a perception check.
Oh God.
Both of you can. Kalera too.
Okay.
Okay.
The dice have betrayed me.
Well, the whole game couldn't go 20 and above. Come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, they head out, and then he like does this little like nod bow. It's not quite a bow, but it's a little deeper than a nod, and he walks out after in the direction that Lanny and Atir went. So you're actually alone in the room.
I am going to Kalera, do we take this now?
Do you think you and I could just walk out of here with that?
I'm fairly certain we can just walk out of here with it. We've just successfully told them that they're going to be without power. We can take this back to our ship, as we said to them already. So if we're questioned, we can truthfully just tell them what we're doing.
Breaths. Okay, we'll do that.
We are in the heart of enemy territory. This is not okay.
Woosah.
Love it.
Woosah.
Both of you get inspiration.
I'm gonna need it.
Let's do your plan. It sounds achievable. I have no argument. Let's do it.
So Gravel, you're essentially going to try and figure out how to take the battery out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And you have to like lead me if you need me to hold anything or do anything, because I'll blindly listen. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So while you're doing that, Atir and Lanny, what are you doing?
Where are the prisoners?
So did you like hang out to see them be let out, or where did you two like after Lanny storms out? Where did you go?
Should we case the place looking disgruntled?
I like that. Yeah, just like make the presence known.
Being very disgruntled.
Okay.
Clean this up. How dare you have this so dirty in the presence of your lord?
So you're essentially gonna just kind of wander around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Spread the word that we're here and make a presence known.
So as you are wandering about, you don't necessarily see them taken out right away, the prisoners, but you do see later that they've been put in this room. You see that ping?
Yeah.
Okay. Those doors seem to have been altered. Like one doesn't open at all. This outer one doesn't open at all. It's been essentially welded shut. Whereas this one has a lock on it.
Mm-hmm. So then,
I was gonna say, do you need to do an errand? And I'm looking. Oh,
yeah, I'll do a quick errand after we've like made our presence known. I'll go to them and be like, wait a minute, is this your holding cell?
It is.
What is this? There are like comfortable beds and places for them to sleep. Oh, you know what? I'm tired of this. Like, we have stuff we need to do. I'm just gonna take these 4 out and kill them myself.
Make a deception or persuasion, whichever you want, or intimidation.
I think intimidation is gonna be the one because Atir is he's not an expert of the peoples.
And I'm going to give you advantage because the people who led them out were actually in the room when Lanny was speaking. Nice. So yeah, they seem a little worried. Maybe we should, and to each other, they're like, maybe we should go tell Manulsec first. I'm sure he wants to get information from them.
So you're saying we didn't get information from? Is that what you're saying? We don't know how to extract information?
Oh no! I'm sorry.
That we've caught. I see. You know what? Yes. Go
No.
and get me those
I'm sorry. And like one of them like
what you told
unlocks
me.
the door and
I will
opens
wait.
it. I'm sorry. Obviously, we meant no offense.
I won't even like you 4. Come here. And I'll take the my staff and look like I'm going to hit them. Like no. Let's go.
Okay, so you start leading them out. About that time,
Gotcha.
there are some like Jaffa walking around that are like, the complex is going to lose power. The lady's henchman, or whatever you want to call it, is doing something with to replicate the power. And you walk out. Lanny, what are you doing?
oh God, I don't know. Are we all meeting back at the ship? We didn't make a plan.
Mm-mm.
We could say that you made a plan, but why don't you tell me what that plan is?
What's the plan to meet back at the ship, guys?
But yeah, it was like get in and get out because like our LED contacts could only last for so long.
Yeah, we should probably meet back at the ship.
Okay.
Does anyone have a problem just taking these people's battery and isolating them?
No, fuck them.
Yeah, we're
Let's
keeping
get
that
the
shit.
hell out of here.
Okay.
Oh, fuck that.
Just checking. Alright, we don't care. So I'm gonna...
I mean, I have like a little problem, but I also understand the balance of needs here, and I'll just process that myself later.
So like as you're flying away, you'll be like, "We'll phone a friend for you. Bye."
Yes,
Okay.
like we'll let people know you're here, but I'm not as invested as being here.
Okay.
I'm on board with that plan with her.
All right, Lanny.
Um,
So you like go outside and you're gonna just book it back to the ship.
I'm not gonna run, but I'm gonna look
Right. Right.
these people and their mess of a city and going back to my ship.
Okay. All right. So Burvell, you figure out how to take the battery out. Essentially, it's just a series of like clamps that are holding it in, so it can't be moved. Once you unclamp those, it just rotates out and pulls. You just pull it out. Really easy. So it's in your hand. What do you do?
Spike it like a football.
Calmly,
Yes.
I was
calmly
here
just
the whole
begin to
time.
walk back to the ship as if I belong and as if this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay.
Cause it is.
Cause it is. And Clara, that's you're going with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Semi-montage scene. So Lanny walks out of the complex. A couple of Jaffa are like watching her, but have obviously been told that you're here. And you notice them whispering to each other, but they're looking at you in awe. So obviously they're like, essentially they're like, this new god is here. Like we're one of the first to see her. It's amazing. And you head off into the desert. Shortly thereafter, Atir walks the other ones out at Matok Point, Staff Point, however you want to say it, and they disappear over a dune. And then I'm assuming you just want to head off to the ship.
Yeah.
Okay. And Burvell and Calera, you carry out the battery, and like Burvell, you're looking at it, and like it's obvious it's some kind of like Nakwita energy generator battery thing. If it's powering this entire complex, it'll have no problem powering that ship. And Calera, you're like debating on who to let know that these people will be here. But
Mhm.
you walk out of the complex and over the dunes. Burvell and Calera, make me perception checks.
Shit. 8.
Ugh.
So, oh, you're at disadvantage, aren't you, Gilbert?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. So I just need to grab something here real quick. I'm sure it's nothing. Everything will be fine.
Yeah, of course.
What could possibly go wrong?
I feel like our plan was unfinished. We should have bombed something.
There you go with the bombs again.
Or we should have bombed many things.
Or we just save our bombs for more fun for later times and not right now.
I want to have fun now.
So we're busy.
Fine. But later times, I'll bomb the shit out of something.
All right, so you all
I mean,
parked.
with that being said, though, I definitely I'm
Oh,
an active person.
so you're breaking up a little bit. What was that, Lanny?
Oh, I was saying that as an explosive person too, I have one ready because I wasn't sure how that was gonna go, but I'm
Sure.
not gonna use it right now. But I definitely
Gotcha.
had it ready.
So for explosives, do you have like C4 or do you have grenades?
C4.
Okay. Are you did you like plant it somewhere, or are you gonna like chuck it?
Planted it somewhere.
Okay.
Where would I don't know. Where do you think is an impressive place to plant it? Like where no one would have seen that? Oh, when I was walking around the facility.
Gotcha. So you want to plant it at the facility, not like
somewhere
in between the ship and the facility.
Maybe at the entrance while I was leaving.
Okay.
Disgruntled.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good place for C4.
Okay. So, Burvell and Calera. I don't know why now I'm starting to forget your names. We've been playing for 3 hours. As you two are like following your tracks back to the ship, you get to the top of the dune that makes that little ravine where you park the ship, and you start heading down it. And then all of a sudden, there's the sound of a Matok plasma rifle. And it goes wide, like it obviously shoots well over your heads, hits the sand in front of you several meters. And then there's another one. That one also misses and goes wide. And you look behind you, and there's a group of Jaffa, like cresting, coming over the rise. And they're obviously shooting in your general direction, like stormtroopers do, where they don't actually hit you. They're just like, poo, 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 poo. Let's go ahead and roll initiative. Oh, and I completely forgot. Select your token before you roll initiative. It is a silly part of Roll20.
I do not have control of my token.
I could also not select my token.
How do I select? I'm clicking my token, but it's not. Agree? Maybe?
Jeremy, for Roll20, if you click the tokens, a little gearbox in the bottom left corner that pops up, if you give control over that token to each of us, that should be able to do the thing.
Lanny can move hers. What's going on here?
I moved mine, I think.
They should have all... Weird. They should all have been set. But they weren't. Fixing that now.
Okay.
Okay, try now. Can you all move your tokens?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Sorry about that. And I just need to throw this guy on. All right. Go ahead and do, who's missing? Do Lanny's one more time. There it is. Awesome.
Okay.
So inside the ship, Lanny, like you're standing in at the door or whatever, watching them show up, because it wasn't that long after you arrived that they showed up. All of a sudden, there's like sand flying from these blasts. You can't see the Jaffa at the top because the rise is out of your view, but someone is definitely shooting at your friends. What do you do?
Run to the top of the dune so I can see.
Okay, so you step out.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you step out and you see like a group of Jaffa. There's at least 3 that have crested the rise, but it looks like there was probably more behind them. What do you do?
Where are my friends located right?
They're about halfway in between. They're at the bottom of the rise, and just like another turn's movement away from getting into the ship.
And the people who are shooting at them are coming out of the city?
Yeah, so you traveled a little bit of a ways. You're about 3/4 of a mile from the city, or the complex. So they obviously followed Calera and Burvell.
Okay. If I yell things, can they hear me?
Probably, yeah.
I'm going to turn up that speaker volume on my voice.
Nice.
How dare you shoot at my friends or whatever friends? And then I'll push the C4, but like in my hand so I don't see it, and I'll just point.
Nice.
How dare you?
So one, make me an intimidation check using your that ability where you can use science instead.
Oh God.
Okay. And then roll me damage for that C4.
Do I just click it?
I think there should be a little die icon right before the C4. Nice.
Okay, cool.
So near the top of the ridge where you all were walking, it's not quite under where they were, but like it's pretty close to them. There's this explosion and sand goes everywhere, and there's like a little ball of fire that goes up. They're all shouting, and we'll call that your turn. A tear.
I want to run up with Lonnie and like, you imbeciles, you dare attack? And I will fire back with my talk.
Okay.
Now, question.
Yeah.
I have the thing that's like, you can't roll anything less than a D8 on your weapons.
So it should already be fixed. If it isn't fixed, go ahead and roll a D8 instead.
Oh no, it is fixed because this is 3D6. Okay, click.
Zat. Yeah, so you just like blast the guy that's up front, and he falls down. Yeah, after the other damage, he just collapses to the ground.
We'll yell, "Divine retribution!"
Love it. Are you gonna stay in?
Sarcastically, and he feels it.
Are you staying next to Lanny?
Yeah.
Okay. So Clara, they're shooting at you. Lanny comes out and blows shit up. Atir steps out and starts firing at the people behind you. What do you want to do?
Are they still coming at us through all that?
It's really hard to tell right now. The dust is settling. You hear shouting, but you're not sure if they're following you.
Is there a hold action in this system?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd like to get my tranquilizer gun out.
Okay.
Because I'm like half pacifist. And I'll just, like, if they're still coming at Burvell and I, then I'll turn around and pop, pop, and then keep going.
Gotcha. So do you want to move and then shoot if something happens, or do you want to hold your entire thing where you're going to move after you shoot?
I don't understand. I'm sorry.
Do you want to move first and then hold your action to shoot if they come after you?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm, that one.
All right.
Okay.
So you essentially get to Lanny and Atir, and Burvell's like running alongside you. What do you do, Burvell?
I am running.
Okay. So you
That's
make a
it.
mad dash.
I am just
So-
bolting. I'm staying with Kalira. I'm not gonna like dash or anything like that, but I'm gonna run.
Okay. So yeah, you just like, he's just carrying the battery and he's just like, and makes it to the rest of you. It looked like, for those of you who are watching, Clara, you're kind of watching over your back, but Lanny and Atir, you definitely see that the Jaffa who aren't laying on the ground look like they're taking up a defensive position behind the edge of the dune, and it looks like they're like trying to aim their staffs over it, but they haven't attacked again. What does everybody do?
Get in the ship.
Does everyone want to get in the ship and take off, is my assumption?
Absolutely.
I'll tell Lonnie, like, you should shame them for their behavior.
Just running by. Just shame them later.
I'll tell Atir, throw one more of those bombs, and while the engineer is plugging it in, they will get back in the ship.
No, weird question, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So most people know you shouldn't work on electronics while the power is on.
Right.
Could I do such a thing with this battery? Because it can fly still technically with the solar panels, right?
Right. So you're you're a little concerned, not necessarily because it looks like kind of like USB. You can plug it in while it's on. You feel like you could put the battery in, but you're a little concerned that the rewiring you had to do to get the solar panels to work might interfere with the power transfer from the battery. So your best bet, as far as you feel, is to fly off now,
And then work
go
on
somewhere
the wiring
else,
later.
right? Change everything out, and then put the battery in.
Gotcha.
Having been told that this battery came from the hangar, you know that they know where the hangar is, so maybe the hangar is not the best place to go.
That's fair. We should pick
Okay.
up the rest of the Jaffa.
That are back there. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all run into the ship as Atir is. Are you gonna lob another?
Yes. Now where? No, where is it?
Just do the same roll. We'll go with that. So you just like start fire, or like you just chuck the grenade up there, like the little ball that you have. That's the grenades that you use, and it doesn't land on the other side, but it explodes on this side of the dune. However, it takes out a good chunk of the dune, and you can see through like the divot where like some of the Jaffa bodies are laying. Unfortunately, they're not all dead, so you do need to keep hurrying. So do you head into the ship?
Yep.
Okay. So as the ship takes off, you hear like the sound of plasma rifles hitting the side of the ship, but the ship is pretty well armored and it like takes the hits pretty well, and you fly off. You all want to go pick up your fellows at the hangar and then go hide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
So there's like a sliding stop as you come in, and you're like, get in, get in, get in, we gotta go. And everyone gets on the ship. So there are the people that are back at the other complex. What's your plan as far as that goes? So like Cadessa is there, and
How many people can we fit?
you're so Burvell, you actually feel like you might be a little over right now. Like it's lifting off, but there's a sluggishness to the controls that you feel it has to do with weight and not the power.
Gotcha. I'll let them know that, but we shouldn't play God and decide who lives and dies and who gets to stay here. We should definitely go to Cadessa and see who is willing to stay behind.
Okay. That good with everybody? So knowing that they also know, like Munulsek and his Jaffa know where the this complex is as well, you kind of land quickly and go up and tell Cadessa this. She right away offers to stay. And most of the ones that are on the ship with you also agree to stay with her. But they are going to abandon this site.
This doesn't feel right.
Is there a
Okay.
way to like give them a tracking beacon or know where this is? Backing. We have other ships.
I like your thinking. You could give them a radio,
Okay.
and then they could, when you get within range, you could be like, "Where are you?"
Do we
Okay.
have GPS in our watches?
Sure.
We
I
should.
give her my watch.
We should. Idea. I'll put the battery in.
Okay.
You know, rewire all the stuff. And I will stay behind with my watch, my radio. And since I gather they would have fixed the ship long before I showed up, if they had the know-how, you guys just come back, and
Right, but you're the
I'll.
one who die, not them.
So, and yeah, they'll be fine. They have their friends on the inside.
They don't have a means
that
to
help them.
amplify a signal, though.
You're gonna.
And when we go
exhaust
back
them
and have
to
more
death.
resources, you can fix it and come back and not die.
These guys they've been here for so long, though.
They're warriors.
Going to punch Prevel.
Okay.
like in the knocking out kind of way, like you want to try and sucker punch him and take him with you, or you're just gonna punch him in general.
Yeah, like if it doesn't knock him out, then I'll be like, if you can't stop that punch, you're not gonna survive here. But I'm just gonna knock him out. Like, yeah.
Sure. Go ahead and roll a melee attack with your Matak.
You just went whap right in the face.
Where are you, Matak? Bam!
You know, it's either because he knows that you care, or you just weren't that stealthy about it. Out of the corner of your eye, you see him coming, and you just like step back, Brevel, as he takes a swing at you.
Your argument's invalid.
You cannot survive here. People who are not Jaffa literally die.
But if I don't go outside and I'm just staying inside rebuilding a beacon,
You think they didn't think about that? You think
did they build
everyone
a
else?
beacon?
Trank him.
I shoot him in the back.
Take him out. Yes, we're not doing that.
Roll your trank at advantage since he doesn't see you.
Which button is that? Is that the red one? Oh, wait, I
It
see
should
it.
be a little.
This thing?
That's the
Yep.
one. Does a 14 hit
What's
you?
happening right now?
It's okay.
A
We all
14
make
does
choices,
not.
and our choice is to love you and give you a chance to help these people. And we're going to do that with a dart gun.
So you absolutely shoot him with the dart gun, and the dart like hits him right in the back, and then he looks at you, and he kind of like glances over his shoulder, trying to figure out what that little like thud was. You see something sticking out of your armor, like your tactical jacket. It didn't pierce all the way through, so you're not being tranked.
What if?
I'm going to say there's three of us. We could do this all day, Brevel. Just when are you going to get on board?
No, we really can't.
Regardless of damage to my hand, because I know I'm gonna for this. Just like, good game, right? And then the dart goes in further.
There you go. Yes. Good game.
Are you just-
Jackal.
Just an
Ew.
idea.
Dun.
I'm open to suggestions.
They obviously are not going to let you stay here
Nope.
to the point
Just
where
an
they are
idea.
willing to do you physical damage to
Yes.
take you along.
I love that none of it is working so far, though. We all
Right.
have to keep trying.
That's
You're
fine.
actually-
We got all day.
You're really glad. I can't think of his name. I think it's Oringo or maybe Mast. It's not Mast. Yeah, it's Oringo. That's also on your team. He's the Unas, which is like the big kind of like Klingon-y lizard person. You're really glad he's not here, because
I'm glad he's sick.
right?
Glad he took a sick day.
Because if Atir missed you, he definitely wouldn't have. Okay, so are they going to convince you to go with them?
Yeah, no, this was just an idea. if we're adamant against it, cool. Like,
Oh, we
this
can
was unnecessary.
Put it away now? Okay.
So only
I'm not putting the staff away.
only Retak is going to go with you, and he only goes with you after Kadessa yells at him to, because he also doesn't want to leave her behind. But she's like, I need you to make sure they come back for us.
Fair.
So he goes with you, which is perfect for the weight that the ship can handle. Okay, so you get the battery swapped out. They're gone before you get finished. Like, they head off into the desert. They seem completely okay with it. Like, they are accepting of their fates. And you take off. what's your plan? Like, where are you gonna head?
Is there a way we would know like where which worlds have a Stargate on them?
So, I mean, supposedly this one was supposed to. And, over the time that you've been here, I'm going to give you this. You have noticed that there, like when you see Earth at night from orbit and like the city lights and everything, how they make those like webs and everything. And you've seen that when the planet that is in view, in the sky view, goes nighttime, it has cities on it that are lit up.
So we're heading there.
Good to go?
Let's go.
Okay. All right. So, as you're flying, who's flying, first of all? Atira or Burval, I'm assuming.
Burvel will fly, and I will stand behind him.
Okay. So, Burvel, you're flying. Again, it's pretty obvious how to do it. Like, once it completely checks to an Earth aircraft, it just was learning what control was which part. And so you're flying it just fine, and all of a sudden it's not doing what you want it to do. Like the control just goes slack, like you can move it around, there's no tension whatsoever. But the ship is still flying on a course. It doesn't just start tumbling through space. And you notice your controls all go dead, like all the lights shut off.
Atir?
You remember what I taught you? Be one with the controls. Be one.
That works really well when the controls are lit up. But right now, we don't have control of the ship.
Watch out. Let me do this. I thought I taught you. We don't have control of the ship.
So as you're trying to figure out what's going on, the ship like enters the atmosphere. There's a bumpy ride, and you head down through some clouds, and this much thicker atmosphere than what you've been in. Do. And you should see an image pop up for you there.
Jeremy, is that snow?
That is not snow. In fact, as you're flying over, you see all of these waterways, although you notice that the waterways seem much lower than their banks. But they all feed into these like ducts that are around this city. There we are. And you see some other flying aircraft that are moving around. In fact, one pulls up right in front of you and seems to be leading your ship. What do you do?
Get ready for diplomacy.
Or horrible death.
Or horrible death.
Such a downer, Bravel. You sure you don't want a shot of this? I mean, you can just tap out for a second.
Why not?
Just repeatedly stabs himself with his tranquilizer dart. Okay.
Too much calm.
So the ship that you're in follows this other one, and that dome that's in the distance, you get to it and actually like opens. There is a part that seems to be built for aircraft to fly through. It opens up and you all go through, and it closes behind you. And from the air, you can see the Stargate on the ground, and there's like a large complex built around it. But the ship takes you to a building nearby and lands on the roof, and the ship that you were following lands right before you. And there are many guards that look human, or humanish. because you realize they're, even from inside the ship, you can tell that they're much taller than you are, like seven or more feet. What do you do? And the door opens. Like no one's back there, but it just like opens.
Well, I'm going to go first, and I'm like, if I get shot, just close the door.
He says that, and you're looking at the control to shut the door, and it's not like lit up like it usually is. So you're just like.
Yeah.
So a tear's gonna go out. What are Brevel, Clara, and Lanny doing? Just waiting to see what happens.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll go out too. I want to see new worlds.
I'm trying to decide if it's inappropriate to have this get up on if I need to take some of it off.
That's funny.
Totally fair. You feel like it might be a good idea to remove it, at least to the point that like you don't look like you have so much stuff on, like
Okay.
System Lord would.
I'll take some of it off.
Okay.
And then I'll go out too.
Okay. And Brevel.
Will trail along with my friends. Much more upbeat. Thank you, Tranquilizer.
Fair enough. All right, so Brevel, you're gonna get. So you stabbed yourself with the tranquilizer.
I feel like this is a mistake, but I'm going to do it anyway.
So you're gonna add 3 levels of exhaustion that are temporary.
Oh, shit.
They're temporary, and you can't die from them. But you're now currently at 4 levels of exhaustion total. So it's here you walk out first, and the rest of them are kind of follow slowly behind you. Several of these people that are dressed in uniforms that you don't recognize are standing outside with these somewhat looking Matok blast rifles pointed at you.
Mm-hmm.
And they say something. It sounds familiar, but it isn't in English, and it's not quite a language you understand.
Right.
But Lanny, actually, yeah, so definitely Lanny, you understand it. I mean, it's like definitely a different dialect of like some kind of ancient Egyptian, as though the version of ancient Egyptian that you know
Okay.
had then like grown into its own language modernly, you know. It's like the difference between Old English and American English.
Okay.
So you can definitely understand it. They're asking who you are.
Can I speak
Mm-hmm.
what I know closest back to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
I will tell them who we are.
Okay. How did you get one of our ships?
Well, we didn't know this was your ship. We got stuck on a planet, and this was the only way off. We're
Several of
looking
them.
for
What's that?
We're looking for a Stargate.
Gotcha. So several of them, when you say that you got like you were stuck on the other planet and used it to get off, they look a little surprised. And the one that's speaking turns and whispers to another that's standing next to him, and that guy runs off. If you would all come this way.
Okay,
Well, they asked nicely, so I'll go with them.
it's fine. No worse than where we were.
And we're just going to assume that Lanny is translating, unless Lanny says, I'm not going to translate that.
Yeah, I'll translate. That's fine.
Okay. So they lead you to that building that they landed on top. Well, sorry, they're on top of the building. So they lead you down into the building. And it looks very much like a research center that you would have been in before. Like it's the layout is surprisingly familiar to you, very economical, I guess is the right word, where like everything obviously has its place and is very like efficient. Efficient is a better word to say it. And it looks like they're doing studies. Like even just walking by it, you can see that they're doing studies on the Stargate, but also something to do with that moon or the planet that you landed on. And they lead you past these rooms into a conference room. And they're like, wait here. If you could just give us your weapons.
How many weapons are they perceiving that I have?
Can I
They-
check their insight? Check their like what I feel like if it's
Absolutely.
innocent or not? Okay. I'm loading it. I didn't see how that went. Oh, okay.
19. Pretty good. You definitely feel they're worried about you all. They're not really trusty, but as far as them asking for their weapons, they're not going to shoot you once you give it to them. If they wanted to shoot you, they probably would have just shot you back at the ship.
That's fair.
But they're more worried about their own safety.
I'll give them my stuff and I'll tell them they could have killed us already. This is way better than where we came from. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, I'll do the same thing now.
Okay.
Same. My most dangerous weapon is my mind. They can't.
Oh,
I love it. Burvell.
Same.
Okay.
P90 and Beretta handed over.
He just like, right? He just like, it takes him like 3 tries to get the P90 off of his shoulder. It's just like it's just like a strap. Yeah, he's just like a strap, but it's obviously kicking his ass. But he manages to hand over, and you're put in there to wait. And after about an hour, your time, again, you're not really sure how long their days are or how they keep track of things. This woman enters, and she introduces herself as Milana, I think, is what I said.
Are you a scientist?
If I understand your use of the word yes, I am. I study the effects of the moon above us and on the Stargate.
How does it affect the Stargate? I'm just gonna be like enthralled. Like I have a hyper focus problem, so
Yeah.
Jesus, and we're about to have all kinds of.
So I'm
Gotcha.
gonna exposition dump on you for a second here.
Okay.
Lanny, this is what you learn, and then you can translate this to everyone else. So essentially, to get the system lords to stop sending people to like Jaffa to their planet, because they were mining the planet for Naquita, their planet is very rich in this material. They, over many years, built a way to divert the wormhole from the Stargate to the moon. It has to do with the density of the moon. It's much smaller than the planet, but it's much denser, and the core is a very dense metal called osmium, and they use the Naquita to enhance that. And so essentially, like, whenever the Stargate would turn on, it would flip these enhancers, I want to call them polarizers or something like that. And she describes essentially that tower you were in that had the big Naquita tube going down into it. It would charge the Naquita more, making everything denser, and would pull the Stargate over. But over time, they found that they can no longer control it. They can't turn it off. And so they haven't been able to dial out either. And over the years, their planet has grown increasingly warmer.
Oh, it sounds like you guys are pulling closer to your moon.
Or, yeah, I feel like you'd know this. It's the combined gravity of the two might be pulling them closer to their sun.
Uh-oh.
So really that's thrown off the Stargate, even if that machinery can't turn on, because you've seen it destroyed. You're not really sure who destroyed it for sure. because you've noticed that their weaponry is very similar as well. You're not sure if they destroyed those or if the Jaffa destroyed them, but their whole planet has been pulled away from where it was. And even though the Stargate should dial the closest one, something's keeping it from doing that. So they can't. They're not able to dial out any longer. However, I want you to make a science roll.
Science, science, science.
And I'm giving you advantage on that one because you have your engineer there with you, and even though he is drugged up, he is able to help you, albeit sometimes mumbly and a little like disconnected. But the two of you realize,
Sometimes that helps. Sometimes
right?
being drugged up and disconnected is just what you need to solve an out of the box situation.
Just a
Right.
different viewpoint on the problem, man.
So to like kind of speed things up, since we're nearing the end of the show, you realize that even though the old addresses, like the address you were given to dial back to the Phoenix site isn't going to be correct, there's like a certain level of math that you can do to essentially be like, okay, well, this is what we would have dialed. How do we change that? What's the new way of doing it? And so over the next few days, you spend time with them figuring out how to dial the gate out again.
Distance over time equals.
And Burvell, your tranquilizer wears off, so you lose those 3.
Oh,
However, that last one just doesn't seem to quite go away right away. So you're still feeling this like kind of gross feeling.
This is my life now.
So I'm gonna
Accepted
shoot him again, but with my controlled stimulants. So he's probably okay. I was definitely holding those back because you just needed a moment, man, and that's fine. We all need a moment.
Calera, go ahead and do a medicine check.
It says I roll a 1d4 to
Like on
do
top of that.
On top, yeah. Well,
Nice.
hold on, let me read it. I think it just says I get to heal 1d4 exhaustion.
yep,
Oh, nice.
Right?
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, so when you're like checking him over and the fact that this exhaustion hasn't left him, you realize that like it wasn't like the heat, which is what you kind of thought it was to begin with. It's more like radiation poisoning. And both you and both you and Lanny have like small symptoms of it, and like your sunburns are like pretty epic. But Atira didn't really have to suffer from it because his symbiote was keeping that at bay.
Good job, Iago.
You definitely feel like those who aren't either Goa'uld or Jaffa, that's probably what killed them, either quickly or over time, depending on their own systems and how that happened.
Yep.
And like Burvell, if you had stayed inside, it would have helped. But yeah, that being exposed with this thin atmosphere and getting closer to the sun, radiation coming in from the star is just baking people up there. You do get the feeling that sooner or later those Jaffa are going to also suffer from it because there's only so much that the symbiote can heal from. So the sooner you get at least your friends out of there, the better. So what would you do about that? Would you tell these are the closest people that you could tell about them?
I'm gonna ask this person who's talking to us through Lonnie, because I know Lonnie will have a good poker face. What do you have to treat radiation poisoning? And if Lonnie looks at me, I'm gonna like look real hard at us. Are there healing properties here that you have that can handle that? It's a little outside my purview.
Yeah. So yeah, they're pretty advanced technologically, and so once you describe to them what it is that you mean, like once Landy translates and everything, they're like, "Oh yes, absolutely," and they give you medicines for all of that.
Good. I am not gonna tell Ravel or even the leader. I'm just going to just take these. Okay, just take these. Co-friends.
Yeah. And after a couple of rests, you would end up losing that last level of exhaustion, Burvell.
Copy that.
So after your days of researching, speaking with the locals, you figure out how to dial the gate home, and as you do, like they send a radio signal through. They're just like, "Where are you? We have been so concerned. We've tried to contact you multiple times. Is everything okay?"
The team is just fine. Coming home.
Well, Captain Rodriguez is looking forward to seeing you. I remembered. Is there anything you want to do before you leave the planet?
So we told them about the cool Jaffa, right? Like the homie Jaffas that we want to save.
Would you like to? Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, like there are some cool ones. Save them. We don't care about the other ones. Like I think they like it there. They can stay. And then if there's a way for us to like bring one of them back, so we could like connect with this planet and help them.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, Lanny and Burvell, you are the two that like figured out how to redial the gate correctly. Do you share that with them, like how they can change their dialing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I would, but would definitely consult with Lonnie before doing that.
I mean, unless it's going to give them some sort of like power they shouldn't have.
Why don't you all do an insight check? We'll do a group insight check, and you can get a feel over the days that you spend there.
And this is when we find out that they're like evil geniuses.
All right, so, excuse me. So, over the time that you spend with them, like, they don't really let you... They let you out of the complex, but, like, to walk around locally, they're not like, hey, go anywhere on the planet you want to. But they seem pretty genuine. Does that make sense?
I mean, is just anyone supposed to know how to dial a Stargate? Or is that a special privilege?
It's kind of a special privilege, especially if they were at one time a controlled planet by the system lords. Like, they wouldn't want their minions to go running away, and so it took them time to figure out how to do it back in the day before they essentially diverted the gate away from the planet.
What if me and Gilbert each roll a d20 and I say no, he says yes?
I'm all for not. If you since you're translating.
I'm not strong enough no though. So like if you were able to convince me, it's not like a hard no.
Yeah, so we want to leave this a chance. I like it.
I do.
It's good.
Roll off. Each of you roll a d20.
Just a single d20.
How do I just roll a regular d20?
Is that your D20, Gilbert?
Right.
Oh my god!
Left side, the little dice icon.
Yeah.
You can click just the d20 symbol. It'll roll one d20.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
You know what? I can't even argue.
Yeah. So Lanny's definitely concerned what they're going to do with this. I feel like you would all be okay since Atir wants to bring one of them back. Establishing contact, having a representative come and speak with lawyer major lawyer. Is that right? I can never remember his rank. Sorry. That's Captain Rodriguez. So what's above Captain? Major?
Above.
Yeah, Major.
Yeah! Major lawyer. Okay.
Jeremy, you're halfway in the Air Force already. Good job.
Yay! So, yeah, bringing like a delegate from here would be a better first start, is what Lanny says. And you're like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. So leading this delegate, who's going to be Milana, actually. She's the one who understands most about the Stargate, and she's just like, I want to go through this thing. Like, this has been my life's work. I want to see how this thing works. So she's super stoked about it. And after like sending your code through to make sure that it's you, because there's like a defense system on the other side that will essentially kill you if you don't send your code through. You step through on the other side of the Stargate, and everyone is free to do as they want as far as downtime. Like you all go through and either collapse or whatever, but you give your debriefing to the major. They meet Milana. You find out that they are fairly technologically advanced, especially since they built off of the tech that was left behind by the Jaffa that they overthrew back in the day. So a lot of their like weaponry is those plasma rifles, and they have access to Naquita. So building this friendship between planets over time is going to be quite beneficial to the Stargate program, as long as their planet is as legit as they say they are.
Dun,
But
dun,
who
dun.
knows, right? So, any last moment requests as your characters or as players?
I would like to go out and buy everyone a souvenir for our adventure together.
Do you want to buy it on like the world that you're from, or do you want to buy it on Uazon, which is the world that you visited? You're just
No,
like, I have to go get you.
We're gonna do it like here, like from where we're from.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, you can go get them like some like seashell necklaces and
Hey, I got this. We did it.
love it. Captain Rodriguez is very happy with your performance at here.
And not at all shocked. Like you're alive. I mean, yes.
Of course. Awesome. I hope you guys had fun playing today. I'm completely losing my voice, so I'm going to call it here. Everyone who's watching, who followed, who subscribed, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you're enjoying WonderCon. If you're playing or watching other stuff, join us on our other streaming days. All of these great people I get to play with on other days of the week, so I'm super stoked for those games as well. Anybody have anything they want to throw out there? Things they're selling, things they made, news they want to share?
I don't make or sell anything, so I just
Nope, me neither, actually.
it's all fun for me.
I think the only other person, actually no, both Chaz and Gilbert are running games on the Onyx Paths channel, so check them out on Wednesdays. Is Chaz's Scion game. Their schedule's on their page, and Sunday is your vampire game. Is that correct?
Correct. Sunday at 11:30
Nice.
Eastern time.
So go follow those as well. They're not hosts. Well, I host them on my channel, but they're not hosted on my channel. If that makes sense. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next time. Bye.